And finally Kenny made flashcards so that instead of having the top, we could look there with that bored look he's so good at, you know, and use the flashcards on people. Subliminal messages, yeah, communication at its finest.
So how many people lived in this house altogether?
Well, at first it was Kenny Randall and Diana and Chris and his girlfriend and me. And but then Choo Choo came up with Stephen King, who's a bass player, and when Peter Ramaranthus got killed down there at the Wave Street house, I mean, everybody scattered, so I had Choo Choo come up here and move in, and then through the time Tommy lived here, and everybody pretty much made it through here. Johnny Griggs came up when the Orange Sunshine first came out with all his boys, and they came in and called some folks, you know, and started setting up the distribution system. And it was so much. We had Elliot Miller was another brother from Anaheim that nobody knows about. But JC and Elliot were real good friends, and Elliot wouldn't give John any money, so John said, "Well, you can't be in the Brotherhood." And we said, "Yeah, right, John, give me a break." And then so anyway, Elliot would come up here, and he had a whole group, a network of people that, and Hank and Barbara that started the Staff of Life in 1969 were part of our crew, and we sold acid and pot there and stuff. And then Larry Galt, I was over at Tripp's house up the street over there, and this guy Larry Galt comes in, and Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker were in there because these girls knew him and stuff, and they were visiting when they were playing and stuff. And so Tripp, they made that movie, The Trip or something like that, with Today and all that. I was supposed to be in it, but I forgot about it and spaced out. Anyway, I'm up at their house right up the street, and she did my tarot cards. Trip, and just, you know, all right. I was the Prince of Haight and Pentacles and all this cool stuff. And she says, "Well, now you got to do something for me." I said, "Sure, what do you want?" She says, "I want sex, baby." And so we had some mad fun sex and stuff, and she, after we're done with, she goes in there and she's telling her other girlfriend and these two dudes and Ginger and Eric and stuff, "Oh, he's really good, dude, you gotta go try it." So I was a harmonica player from way back from my dad and stuff. I played harmonica. Those guys started jamming, I'd play a little bit of harmonica with them and stuff. And then Larry Galt walked in, and it was like he buying a bunch of weed, and this other guy came in with a guitar case, and it was just like, it didn't matter where you were. Blue Cheer lived right around the corner, and we sold him stuff. In the 13th floor elevator, we sold to, God, everybody during that period. All Quicksilver, everybody.
So since this was the epicenter of the love summer, the 60s, it was all about love, make love, not war. And as part of your Aquarian Temple, what was your mantra or your mission that you were preaching as ministers, or trying to share the love? What were you trying to spread to everybody with this temple?
Well, we were into self-realization from Laguna and all that, and Paramahansa, Yogananda, Jesus, all the saints, anybody that was into spiritual involvement and self-realization of yourself and stuff. So we act, and that's what the Essene Gospel was about, being vegetarians and tuning in the light. And I think Jesus actually studied up in Tibet up there when he assumed the name Jesus and became a fugitive. And they have records of that actually, that he studied under the Essenes, and they made him the Christ, or the Christ actually means the crystal, and one of them words, Christ means crystal, and that means the anointed one, or the light, crystal reflection, you know.
And so you'd use your substances also to reach that realization as a help point, and that was part of the culture here, right?
Definitely, and because we weren't aware of all that stuff at the first, and when we first started taking it, it was completely open. There wasn't no preconditioned programming and stuff. So it was more of an open community, one cell functioning up here that at the peak of it all, it was like everybody was one, moving together, and it was all total love, and we were going to change the world, and we stopped the wars, and we're going to do all this unbelievable stuff for the world and for ourselves, and try to change, get people to love one another. When we were in Pasadena down there at the Euphoria, we planned the love-ins with Bob Thomas and Osley and all them guys and stuff. We actually had the first one inside down there, and had a bunch of musicians come. Then they started them up here, the one with Tim and all of them came in. But we had passed that LSD. Diana made us these robes, and our Haight Street robes like a monk. You know the robes, you've seen them. I used to take her out on Halloween, and when they were little kids, with my shotgun and my Afghanis and this robe and stuff, and my snow leopard robe, and fire off the shotgun for Halloween.
That was back in Hawaii.
That's right, Amy and Andrew grew up in Hawaii.
There's a 360 round of what's across the street from the house now on Weller Street.
On the camera.
You're
Please keep us here with all that stuff.
1 block away from the Golden Gate Park Panhandle. 1 block off 8.
That's Brother Fleet doing the camera work. Yes, he is. He's got an unbelievable arsenal of musicians for years and years that he has filmed. And of course, that goes back to Kenny Randall and Ray Opie, and Ray Opie's wife at the time, who later on down the road we sent to Afghanistan too, and that's who populated the whole big southern coast, northern coast up there with all the fine weed and stuff like that, Big Sur Purple and everything. Oh, that came right from Fleet's wife at the time. Wasn't at the time it was raised, but. So we decided to let him come up here and film us because he's our brother. He's telling me to do all this shit. Hey, I'm the god here. I'm the director. Damn it.
So at the peak here at 1750 Waller Street at the Aquarian Temple, it was all about love and harmony with nature. How did your stay here come to an end?
Well, after the peak and we got publicized so much, the Diggers came up with this thing. We funded the Diggers Food Fest and the crash pads also, and we also sent people to crash pads here, but it first started getting weird. They did a casket down Haight Street and buried the hippies. The hippies are dead. That name's come to an end. You can't label us.
So that was more of a symbolized type of thing?
Symbol of labels, yeah, they went into that labeling and stuff. But then again, at the time, the police stopped the flow of the LSD and the marijuana, and they sent the crack and the heroin and all the other drugs in there. So a lot of people started coming in to Haight. Weren't pretty much criminals, and the first thing was Choo Choo had an ounce of weed. We showed this guy, and the guy took off running down the street with it. And then I took these 2 guys who wanted like 5 pounds of weed. I took them over there to Blue Cheer's house and told the guy, "Hey, there's a couple guys over there want to buy some weed," and but I don't know them. So what do you want to do? They want to buy 5 pounds. And he said, okay, bring them up. So they brought them upstairs. Well, the guys, they saw the weed, grabbed the box, pulled out some 45s, and hey, give us that weed. And so the blue cheer guy goes, hey, he doesn't have a clip in his gun. The other guy goes, he's got one in his. And, well, anyway, they took the weed and ran down the stairs, and it was like, whoa.
And that was 5 pounds?
Yeah, and that was the Hells Angels, of course, Blue Cheer, and so they got on the phone and told their buddies that Hells Angels had cops in town and everything that worked for the police and etc. And they caught them down the road. They picked on the wrong guys, man. And it was like, whoa. And then so we had this stash place up here in the library, and there was this big old library, and if you pulled it out, it was like a small bedroom in there and beneath it, so we'd stash all our stash in there and stuff. And then one day I'm down on Haight Street and took some acid, and I'm sitting on the corner of Haight Ashbury, and I'm just fell into the gutter and dripping down to the ocean. And I looked up and there's this girl sitting next to me, with the kaleidoscope eyes and stuff. And she wants some acid, so I gave her some, and then we went tripping and went out there in the park, and we had these flowers growing. I took her over there and we laid down and just looked up and to all the flowers and all the people everywhere and stuff. It was just like magic and stuff. And then she spent the night and stuff, and then the next couple of days or something, Ken and them said that, she has the clap and this and that and da-da-da, and they wanted to get rid of her. I found that they said she's underage. And I'm going, oh, wow. And then the cops came. Somebody had set us up. They went right to the bookcase, moved it open. We had all these tapestries in our houses. The whole top of our rooms and the sides and everything were all tapestries, and it looked like the sheepskin and stuff. Well, we stuck the girl in my closet, and the tapestry covered the closet door. Well, the cops couldn't find nothing because we didn't have anything at that time. Thank goodness, and a piece of hash or something I had in my hand the whole time. And then, so they left. But then again, we were selling to hookers, and we were selling to anybody that got hooked up with us. And even the cops came back one time when I had on my ministry clothes, and JC Tunnel got busted. We're in the San Diego border, and was on probation, or he was going to court for the Valhalla first bust, and he got busted with Fasty and Lyle didn't cover him, and so he went to jail. And they let his girlfriend go, and I flew down there in my new minister outfit and everything, and went and saw JC in the San Diego County Jail and stuff and everything, and the cops checked us all out and da-da-da. And then when I came back after seeing him, there was some cops standing at the store, and then somebody they found our phone number in the pocket of somebody that got murdered, and we were going, what? And then later we found out that Kirby Hensley, go ahead and pause. Kirby Hensley had gotten some trouble because of the Brotherhood down there when I went to see JC, and so they started investigating his church, which was cool. And so things started coming to an end. So when they busted, after the cops left, that was it. We went on. We didn't have that much money, and everybody was looking, what are we going to do? We started packing up, and in one of the meditation room in there, and underneath the rug, we found $1,300 under the carpet. Nobody knows where it came from. And it was like, whoa. So Chris Clever went out and bought this truck, him and Ken, and I had this van I got from Thomas Wheel, who was, and Rich Rusico and Terry, who were some Haight Street friends from Milwaukee that were later to be a big influence on sending them to Afghanistan, and they ended up in Santa Cruz with Jack Schwab and my cousin Stuart, Bobby Stewart, and those guys from the Town and Country, etc. But Tomas and Richard got busted walking out of here with a big telephone book, and so of course the cops knew something was happening because he came right out of our house, but they didn't go on our house, they just busted him. And then so he sold his van, and I bought his van and stuff so he could pay his court stuff. So we took off. We had some friends up in Potter Valley, up there by Clear Lake, by the river, and they were growing food and watermelons and everything. And we took off to Potter's Valley, and it was Ken Randall and Buddy Morgan and Tommy Tunnel and Choo Choo and Freddie and all them guys.
So you moved from the city to the mountains.
We went to the country, yes ma'am. And then that was the end of Haight.